Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Keelan, and today we're going to be diving into some low poly design, and specifically we're going to be creating a low poly car. And low poly cars have been done over and over again on YouTube, but it's a topic that keeps coming up, so I'm going to make my own version today, and hopefully you learn something new. So start up Blender and let's get started. Okay, so here we go. First thing first, I'm going to start up my shortcut viewer. So remember, as we go along, if there's something I don't narrate too well, or you're just wondering what key input that was that maybe I forgot to mention, keep an eye down the bottom right here, and you can see anytime I press a key, it shows up down the bottom. Okay, so today we're going to save the starting cube. So first thing we're going to do is, with this low poly car, is to create a rectangular shape. So I'm going to squish this down and then S and Y to scale it in the Y axis. Okay, and then I'm going to tab into edit mode, Control R to bring up our loop cut tool, and I'm just going to put this cut about here. Then I'm going to press 3 to tap into faces and press E to extrude this up. Maybe a little bit extra, so I'm going to press GZ to drag this face up a little bit further. Click this rear face, extrude this out as well, and here we are. So we've got the basis of what is a very blocky car, and this is what low poly design is all about. It's about slowly building up the shape, and the general geometry of the object you're trying to reproduce, and just keeping it simple, because that's what we're all about in this channel. We're all about keeping things simple and fun. At the end of the day, when things get complex, they're not the most fun. So what next? So I'm gonna click on this top face and press S to scale it down, and this is really we're gonna start to give more of that general car shape that that we all know and we're all familiar with. And then perhaps I think what I'll do is go into my edge tool, press G, double tap G just to bring this back a little bit. Okay, that looks good to me. And next, I think we need to add some wheel arches. So I'm going to shift or right click here. That looks about right to me. And then make sure we're out of edit mode, tab into object mode, shift A, and add a cylinder. Before you click anything else, ensure to click add cylinder down here. I'm going to reduce this down to around, say, 14, because we want to keep this low poly. So reduce the vertices. And press RY and then type in 90 to get a nice 90 degree turn there. I'm going to tab into I'm going to select the side view here, select this object, scale it down, and then I'm just going to press G, Y, GZ just to move these around till I'm sort of happy with the general size and the general position of what is going to be the wheel arch. Okay, that looks good to me. And then what I'm going to do is we are going to use the Boolean tool to create a cutout here, but I want to do it in a bit more of a non-destructive manner. So I'm going to click on my car, click on my cylinder, object, bool tool, and I'm going to do brush Boolean difference. And I have clicked them in the wrong way around. So click on the cylinder, click on the car, bool, brush Boolean difference. And if you don't have this tool, it's because it's an add-on. If you go to edit, preferences, and then in the preferences search for bool, and then the bool tool, enable this, and then it'll be down in the bottom of the object tool right here. Okay, great stuff. And then next, just move this down a little bit, because the whole benefit of using this Boolean tool is that it's very non-destructive, and if we move our boundary box around here, you can see we can move this cutout wherever we want to. So if you want to reuse this car for another design, you don't need to create a whole new base or cut out some more holes. You can simply move, scale, and adjust to your heart's content. Okay, so then I want to add our wheel, of course. So I'm going to select our cylinder here, I'm going to press Shift S and move the cursor to the center of the selected. This is going to make sure we have a wheel right in the center. And then I'm going to press Shift A to add a cylinder, RY 90 once again to rotate it 90 degrees on the Y axis, and then I'm going to look into my side view and scale this down just inside the box till I'm happy, and that looks good to me. But our wheel is a little wide, so S and X to scale it on the X-axis, and G and X to bring it in just a little bit, and that looks pretty good to me. Right, now it's time to add some definition to our wheel. So I'm going to press 3, make sure in edit mode, press 3 to go tab into face select mode, and I'm going to press I to inset this face. I think about there is good for me, and then E to extrude it inwards, then I once again to inset another face, and then we're going to press E to extrude this up. So this gives us a nice little, you know, rim sort of shape to it. And what else we can do is I'm going to select every other face on this, you know, surface here. Press E to extrude this inwards, and then once again we've got a nice rim looking thing here, and that looks good to me. And of course now we want to make sure we have 4 wheels, otherwise this car isn't getting very far. So what we want to do is I'm going to click on our cylinder here and go to the modifier properties, add a mirror, make sure we click the car as the mirror object, and this should mirror across to the other side, as you can see here. So we've got a nice cutout that perfectly matches the other side, and you guessed it, we can do the exact same again with the mirror modifier tool, and click on the car, and there we have it. Now we have a wheel on each side, and then what's next to do is I'm going to click on this and the wheel, shift D to duplicate, press Y to lock it to the Y-axis and bring it to about here. And we will need to reapply the spool cut. So I'm going to click on the car, click on the cylinder, down to bool and difference. Once again, don't make my mistakes of clicking them back to front. Click the cylinder, then click the car, object, bool, brush boolean, difference. And now we have 4 wheels placed in a non-destructive manner, so we can go ahead and move these around. And you could, you know, create some extra ones if you wanted a car with, you know, 6 wheels, something a bit more cyberpunky. It's completely up to you. Let your imagination run wild doing this. Okay. And what else does a car need? Well, a car needs some headlights, maybe a bumper, rear bumper, some windows. So the best way I find to do this, if I click on the car, tab back into edit mode. First of all, I want to create this center line here to create the distinction between the front and rear windows. So I'm going to press Ctrl R. I'm going to scroll up once to get 2 cuts. Click, right click to keep it centered, and then S, Y to scale this along the Y axis. And then I'm going to press 3 to go back into face mode, select this face, and do the same on the other side. And then press I to inset. Oh, so if you get this uneven insetting, it's because we need to apply. So back into object mode, click on your car, and we need to apply a scaling. So shift, Control A, scale, and then tab back in edit mode, I to inset once again, and there we have it. Now we have even scaling. And then what we want to do is do the same on the front and back. Press I to inset, and that looks pretty good to me. Next thing we can do is click on all these windows, press Shift E, and then we want to select this option here, which is extrude faces along normals, and then drag your mouse downwards just a little bit, and this is going to create a nice little extrusion. Oh, that's a bit deep. Alt E, and then bring down just a smidge because car windows aren't that deep, and there you have it. We have a nice little bit of definition across all our windows, and that looks good to me. Right, so now go back into object mode, and I'm going to add in some headlights here. So I'm going to do them one at a time, and then I'm just going to use the mirror tool to mirror everything across. So perhaps if we shift right click here, Shift A, mesh, add a cube. Oh, that's huge. So press S to scale this down. And then SX to scale this in the X axis. S, Y, or Z rather, to scale this in the Z axis. And you can just put that on the front there. Now you've got a one headlight. I'm going to make this a bit bigger, but you can play around with these things all day, to make them as big or as small or as large as you want. And then I'm going to click on this, tab into edit mode, Control R to go into edge loop mode. I'm going to drag this out just a little bit, click again, and this will give us a nice little division for when we want to add some color and create this as an indicator. Okay, and now let's add a mirror modifier to this, select the car, and now we have 2 headlights. Great stuff. And now I want to add some bumpers, so I'm going to click on the main car, back into edit mode, Control R, and I'm going to add some edge loops here, maybe one along this middle point, and this is going to give us some nice faces we can work with on the front. So if I go into face mode, select all these, Alt E to extrude along normals, and then S to make sure this scales evenly, and then this gives us some nice looking bumpers. And I'm going to do the exact same on the rear end, maybe about there. 3 to go into face mode, click these faces, Alt E, extrude along normals, S to scale evenly, and there you have it. We have a nice bump on the rear end, we have a nice bump on the front end, and this car is pretty much complete. As we go along, I'm just going to add some extra details. So perhaps I'm just going to duplicate this, and GY to bring this up here, GX to move this out here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use these as our rear view mirrors. So how are we going to do this? So perhaps I'm going to scale this out, or rather extrude it out once, scale it down, GZ to bring it down, and then just press GX to bring it in, GY to move it across. And you can adjust this till you're so happy with the general geometry. They might look a little large, but I'm going for that sort of charming, childish look. So I think that looks good to me. And then what else does a car need? A nice number plate, perhaps. So I'm going to go with the front view. I'll duplicate this again. And press X. Bring this over here. I'm going to turn clipping on, which will, when we bring them closer, was I clipping off? Okay, that'll do. Either way. And then I'm going to bring this down, and that looks pretty good to me. Oh, okay, maybe not so good. Bring this up, scale it in the Z axis a little bit. There we have a number plate, and this car is pretty much done. Now you could keep adding things all day, so I could add you could add an exhaust pipe, maybe you could add some extra details, but let's just jump straight into doing some materials. Now checkpoint in the video, materials. Okay, so let's add some color. So if we go into material preview, so we can actually see what we're working on. And I think I'm going to do the car base first. So the base color, I'm just going to call this car, and I want a nice, because my favorite color is like a purpley blue. I like that, looks good to me. And I'm going to take the wing mirror, I'm going to give it the same color. Okay, that looks good to me. And then I'm going to go into the windows, add a new shade for window, and I'm going to tab into edit mode, press 3 to go faces. Oh, and then we can click on this, hold shift and click on all your windows. Click on the window shader and click assign. And then we can maybe make this a bit of a tinted blue to add that sort of cartoony glass look. And then for our headlights, perhaps we're going to tab back into edit mode and then create a new shader called lights. I'm going to click on, well, initially I'll just do the entire one. So I'm going to make this lights, then go into edit mode, select the outer one here, create a new shader for indicators. And of course, indicators are typically orange. Assign. And that looks good. Maybe a little bit more yellow. I don't think they're quite that orange. I could be mistaken. And what's left to do? We've got the wheels. Perhaps give the number plate a bit of color. I've seen a lot of yellowy number plates. That's quite nice. And then I'm going to go into this wheel. And the base of the wheel is going to be quite dark. So maybe for a tire, bring it down quite dark. And then we're going to need to tab into edit mode, create a new shader for chrome. And I'm going to click on all these faces. This could be a bit tedious, so I might speed this up. Okay, cool. And then what we can do here is hold shift, select our main face, hold shift, and then also hold alt to select this entire loop here. And then I'm going to hold shift, click all these two. This is why we keep it low poly, otherwise you'd have a lot to select. And then assign the chrome to this as well. And I think if I hold, yeah, sometimes it can be awkward to get, but hold shift, alt, and click around here too. And I think I'm going to make this chrome too. Yeah, that looks pretty cool to me. And then we actually need to adjust the chrome because, of course, chrome isn't white. It's more of a silvery color. You could increase the metallic, but I am going to keep it as it is. Maybe just reduce the roughness a little bit. But I'm trying to keep this, you know, very sort of cartoony and charming. And then let's see if this works. Object. Not too bad. But perhaps I just duplicate the tires again, just for ease, rather than needing to do all the shaders again. So click on your tire, delete the old one, into side view, shift D, press Y, just to move it along the Y axis, and then click here. And here we go. We've got another tire that's already beautiful and shaded for us. And this is looking pretty good. Did we adjust the light color here? Make the light a little bit yellower. You know, you can adjust it to your heart's content. But I think that's going to about do it. You know, to touch up this design now, I think I'm going to press Shift S, move the cursor to world origin, Shift A, add a plane, S20 to scale this up. We just hide this with H briefly, just so I can touch this up. I'm going to click on this, click on this, click on our headlight, click on this, and then make sure the last thing you click on is your car. Right click and then parent them all to the car. So whenever we move this around, everything comes with it. And I'm going to bring this up just so it's above the plane. Alt H to bring back everything we've hidden. And then give this plane some color. What color do we want to go with, ladies and gentlemen? Orange seems to be the nice go-to lately, but let's mix it up. Perhaps a nice blue. Okay, and then toggle into our camera. N Go to view, lock the camera view, bring this up a little bit, and then click that off again. Press N to close. Oh, whoops. Undo that. Whoops. Okay, go back into a camera. Okay, right. Click that off. Press N to close the view there. Go into our scene. Render with cycles. GPU compute. Click on the rendered view, and there you have it. This is our rendered car. It seems looking a little dark, so maybe let's add in some lights, maybe an area light to put above, GZ to bring this up. Go into a light, maybe give this 800, give it a little bit of a purpley tint, scale it up so shadows aren't quite as harsh. We just quickly pop into EV so we don't get a lot of flicker. Get rid of the old light. Actually, I kind of like that. I like what's going on there. Put this to one side. I'm going to Shift D, duplicate this. Maybe move it over here. Double tap R to rotate freely. About there will do fine. Go back into a camera. Adjust this ever so slightly. And there you have it. Go back into cycles, render this out, and here we have it, our finished low poly car design. I went ahead and added a little bit of extra color to the front and rear bumpers, but I'm going to leave that up to you as a little extra challenge for today. Go ahead and add some extra color in yourself, mix it up, and let your imagination go wild. But that's me done for the day. Continue on your journey, making simply beautiful, amazing things. And if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. But until then, I'll catch you in the next one.